if he cut out all those little references, the video would be about 2 minutes long. But it's clear that it's eating him up, and I think at points he even says, like, you know, I can't stop thinking about this. This is like shameless sweeping from Charlie, dude. This is like embarrassing, bro. It's not happening, and if it's happening, it's a good thing. He's doing the meme, bro. He's doing the meme. No, Charlie, why are you doing the meme? It's not the end of the world. I think that he has, you know, made some mistakes in the debate. I mean, it happens. That his response has made it way worse. And then, obviously, this statement, which we did cover yesterday, but I'll just go over again, because we'll probably just make this a segment. Basically was him stepping away from the podcasts that he does. Hey everyone, effective immediately, Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet and the recent hate. So I think there was a clipped screenshot shared of this, which only had the first part of this message. So people ended up concluding that he was taking a hiatus from the internet in totality. But, you know, I looked at it and I thought it doesn't seem like he is. And then there was confirmation from, I think, someone else from the podcast on Reddit saying he's not quitting the internet totally. But obviously people love to conclude based on limited information. It's the internet after all. And so you had like Drama Alert putting tweets out, which ended up getting community noted, which said critical quits. Critical has decided to leave the internet. So that was never true. That was never a true thing. He was never leaving the internet. And in fact, if you look at his channel, he's continued to upload videos like normal before this one. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's just like, bro, why not just have a look and check? You know, like the first thing I thought when I saw the cutoff thing was, well, what does the full statement say? And then you look at the full statement and it's like, okay, it doesn't seem like he is quitting the internet on the statement alone, you know? Anyway, we obviously wish the best for him. We obviously wish him the best, for everyone to respect his decision, and for all to know that the show will always be open for him to drop by and talk shop should he wish to return. We know this will disappoint some of you, but we're still committed to making the entertaining show you're familiar with. The show will go on. The official podcast, Red Thread and Criminally Stupid, are not going anywhere in light of the recent announcements. And then they just talk about the bonuses, which is kind of irrelevant to what we're interested in. And yeah, they just talk about the podcast more broadly. Anyway, so the point with Charlie is he's literally just stepping back from these podcasts. That's it. Okay? And I do think that it is likely influenced by the Sneako thing. You know? No. To be clear, okay, how are people misunderstanding this? I've just said it, bro. Okay. He's not taken a hiatus from the internet. I don't believe that was ever the plan. He's continued to upload his normal videos since the debate. Okay. And this, I believe, was just stepping back from the podcast, but people concluded, because a small screenshot was shared of it, that he was taking a hiatus from the internet completely, which was never the case and was never true. Okay. So anyway, in any case, that's, you know, that's that. We'll watch his video now and see what he's got to say for himself. The video explains all of this. I'm sure it does, and we're going to watch it. We're going to get to it, okay? But in any case, you know, his biggest mistake was biting the bullet on things he never needed to for the purposes of his debate and being inconsistent in his views. Let's see how he responds to it anyway.
Heavens to Betsy, what a week, huh, sports fans? Holy Toledo. Yeah, so MoistCr1tikal in a big oopsie-poopsie situation here. It reminds me of the time in Moonfall when KC Houseman sacrifices himself and dies of cringe to become the moon. Yeah, so, being serious now, since this has become such a big issue, I've been in a lot of drama recently. I'm in hot water, and I'm biting on the fart bubbles that pop up in the bathtub here. It is a lot. So let's start with the most recent one today. My retirement. I didn't know I was retiring. That's news to me. I'm as shocked as all of you are. I had a ton of fun last night playing a game called Clickleding, which is basically like a cuckoldry simulator, but for clicking against like the Lorax in a hotel room. And I just did like an old school gameplay commentary video. I was bubbly, full of jubilation. I posted it today only to learn that I'm just a big ol' fucking liar. Liar, liar, plants for hire, I suppose. Apparently, and I didn't know this until I posted the video, everyone was under the impression that I was quitting the internet. So I started scratching at the hair on my chinny chin, wondering, when the fuck did...
If he cut out all those little references, the video would be about 2 minutes long. What is going on? He's doing it on purpose. He's doing it on purpose here, okay? I swear to God. He's doing it more on purpose.
Did that happen? Was I sleepwalking? Do I have somnambulism? Is this some kind of, like, you know, Fight Club situation? But instead of, like, Tyler Durden, I have fucking Charles Turden here that's just making wrong announcements. It turns out the patient zero behind all of this was a post Jackson made announcing that I would be leaving the podcasts, which is something I thought about periodically for quite a few months now, mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being chronically online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcast...
Holy fuck! Your community hates this guy! Yeah. Guess what? Beyond your little internet bubbles, okay, MoistCr1tikal is not as beloved as you want him to be. Yes, there's lots of people who don't fucking like this guy, okay? And I have been critical of critical of this guy in the past, when appropriate, okay? I think, I can't even remember what it is now. Something to do with OTK or something ages ago. Something to do with this, like, connection to Ludwig or some... You know, I can't remember. There's a video about it, I'm sure, okay? But also... What with being fair, there's times where I think people have gone overboard in criticising him. Like the recent thing where he's nice to Logan Paul at an event, or spoke to Logan Paul at an event, and people acted like he was being completely crazy and inconsistent, you know? You could say I've been MoistCr1tikal. The Mew Kitty, yes, I thought he behaved pretty shittily with the Mew Kitty stuff. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, why are you so surprised? Dude. So what? What does it matter? Yeah, of course, people here don't like him. Get over it.
Podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online, so... And I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey, you can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, you know, sailing off into the sunset here and just reducing the amount of stuff I do online. Which he completely understood, so he made the announcement just letting people know that, and then that got spun on Twitter and Reddit as...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it probably has, you know, played on his mind. Okay, but I don't think the timing is coincidental, personally.
The confusing opinion became a member. The confusing opinion celebrates 4 months of membership, _Chud Pepe.
Thank you for the membership. Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy to think that the Sneako stuff was the kind of, like, there probably was some thought process of it. And this was the kind of straw. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what I would guess it probably is, okay?
MoistCr1tikal's taking an indefinite hiatus and quitting the internet, fundamentally. Don't know when I'll be back. He's done with the internet because of all this controversy. Patooey on his grave. He's gone. When looking at the post, I don't even know where that's coming from. It's
okay. I've got to be honest with you. I must call out my son, Queeman. Dude, Queeman was doing the Rip Bozo stuff. And, you know, just on looking at it, I thought, I don't know if he's, like, quitting forever. I'll probably just, you know, chill out a little bit. I think he's still going to be making content. And lo and behold, he is still making content. Listen, if you want to see a true hater community, go and watch a Queeman stream when he's talking about MoistCr1tikal, okay? That is another level. Queeman keeps saying TCD, TCD, TCD. I'm not sure what it means. I think it means total commentary death, to be clear, conceptually. It doesn't mean anything else, I don't think.
It's literally just talking about the podcast and me just stepping away. Like, it doesn't extend beyond that. I can't even wrap my tiny noodle around how anyone could perceive this as me being done with the internet entirely, but that's the story that they ran with, and that's what most people saw, not the actual post. So everyone thought I was quitting the internet, so I posted that video.
It's very low stakes, but it's just, you know, it's one of those situations where there's a misinterpretation of something based on limited information, and it turns into this big story.
That I was really happy with because it just felt like an OG old school video that made me happy. And then bang! Just a flood of comments and dislikes all saying shit.
Is this... No. I'm literally... This is just for today. My schedule's not. If my schedule changed, I'd announce it more broadly.
Like, how could you fucking deceive us? I thought you quit, huh? What happened to leaving, huh? I just read this post on Twitter from an account that had a profile pic of titties photoshopped onto Thomas Edison that said you were done, and it had 50,000 likes, so I know it was true.
Funny.
And you're just a fucking
funny.
liar. I can't even just peacefully walk away from some projects without it being a massive fucking reaction over actual nothing burger information. And trust me, no one has a palate.
Wait a second. Okay. I somewhat agree. I agree with the idea that there was like, you know, some sort of like misinformation spreading about this. People were jumping to hardcore to conclusions, right? But I feel like he has also contributed to that tremendously by not meaningfully addressing this. I mean, the first stream he did where he spoke about it, he ended up privating or deleting the VOD. I'm not sure which, but on Twitch, it got privated or deleted. And then he made another comment, which was partway through a stream of him playing Fallout 4. So no, sorry, Fallout London, the new mod. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, of course. Like it comes across like you've had this terrible debate performance. This statement comes out. Yes, it's wrong to conclude super hard, but people are thinking and concluding off the back of that. So if you'd have actually just put something out that was a bit more public, that addressed it more quickly, then I don't think it would have led to this eventuality with this story, you know? And the fact that he's, I mean, dude, regardless of which way you slice it, whatever you think about this video, okay, I think you have to agree that not uploading the video is a terrible, terrible look, okay? The fact he's chosen to not put the video on his channel, it's almost like adding to this idea that he's coping so hard. Like, why would you, like, he did it last time. He did it last time. He put up a conversation. It was edited, sure, with clips of himself, but he did put it up there. But, you know, so you know, he also, his lack of action in addressing this more directly and more openly and more outwardly, I think has contributed to some of this discourse quite a lot.
More refined for nothing burgers than me. I have ranted about the stupidest shit of all time, but this was mind-boggling even for me. So to set the record straight, no, I'm not retiring, despite what the experts are telling you. All I did was walk away from a couple of projects. Like, that's really it. Like, that's a pretty normal thing to do, especially when one of them I've been doing for, like, 8 years. I really didn't think it was that deep, especially not deep enough for how big of a story it's become with all of the wild narratives running around about the true reason that I stopped doing it. So let's get into that drama. I've talked about it on stream, I don't even know how many times at this point, but we'll just talk about all of it in this video here. So, when covering the Ava Tyson...
Dude, oh my god. MoistCr1tikal, oh, this is so annoying. I've watched the stream, okay? And it is a painful watch. Because he sits there and it's clear he cannot get off of his fucking mind. And he's like this, looking at chat. And listen, looking at chat and participating with chat is great. It's fine. It's part of being a streamer. But it's clear that is eating him up, and I think at points he even says, like, you know, I can't stop thinking about this. Dude, it's such a painful watch. But now he's going to do the edited video and explain it in a way where he's got no pressure and he can retake it and retake the shot and stuff like that. So he's going to sound, you know, a lot better on it. But like, obviously in the live setting he sounds horrendous, but you can kind of obfuscate that a little bit by giving a strong statement here.
Tyson situation, I was attacked by a lot of people for not being quick enough. Even though I covered it within like the first 6 hours, people were unsatisfied that I hadn't made a video within like the first fucking 20 minutes of it dropping. And then when I did finally finish the full video covering all of it, it was another massive problem where now I only did it out of an obligation because people called me out, and then I also got accused of being a transphobe because I didn't use Ava Tyson's preferred pronouns, which were she, her. I didn't know that.
By the way, guys, if you want evidence of my tremendous fairness, okay, I will provide you with evidence in just a moment of how tremendously fair I am in all instances. Because I actually agree with what MoistCr1tikal is saying here. And I can prove it to you.
Just calling Ava Tyson by her name was okay. And I had also heard when I went to the Mr. Beast thing, someone refer to Ava Tyson with they. So I was truly under the impression that that was okay. And for that, I was annihilated by a good chunk of Twitter. and then annihilated by another good chunk of Twitter because I called out Sneako, who was the main proponent, about me covering for Mr. Beast to keep the collab alive. I wasn't talking about Ava Tyson because I wanted the Mr. Beast collab. And I talked about how...
Yes, he was totally correct about this. He was totally in the right on all of this. And Sneako was hypocrisy hunting when I don't think there was hypocrisy hunting to be hypocrisy really to be pointed out. It seemed like MoistCr1tikal was engaging with it in a similar way to how he dealt with the Dr. Disrespect stuff.
How absurd that statement was, especially given his history with fighting against the age of consent. He's been very vocal about how much he hates the age of consent, and so I talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people, where I never talked about Ava Tyson and only talked about Sneako. So it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk about what Sneako was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like...
Wait, sorry.
And so I talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people, where I never talked about Ava Tyson and only talked about Sneako. So it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk about what Sneako was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like... well, he was going to cover for Mr. Beast until Sneako called him out. So, like, if I didn't do it, I would have been attacked. I did do it, still got attacked. It really was unwinnable. But from that...
right, guys. Before we get into some of the criticisms I'm probably going to have of this, say it with me, guys. Chud is fair. Look at this. Look at this tweet that you probably didn't see from the 24th of July, where I actually agreed and said that these accounts that were calling MoistCr1tikal out were wrong. Eh? Because I agreed. I thought it was right. I thought it was true that what was being said was ridiculous. This idea that MoistCr1tikal was being inconsistent was stupid, because he was making content about it. He'd done a stream segment about it. He'd uploaded it and was going to make a full video about it, you know? And of course, if he's getting called out for hypocrisy, it's totally reasonable that you would want to address that and respond to that, you know? Stop glazing critical. Oh my God. So listen, get to the point. Oh my God, dude. We've got some ADHD med needing freaks in chat, it seems. Listen, guys, I'm going at my own pace, okay? Just sit back and relax. You're in good hands. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is I am not a critical hater at all. There's times where I would absolutely be willing to agree and say, well, this is a fair aspect on his side. But I think his performance in the debate and what he did afterwards was so bad. I just think it's totally reasonable to call it out for what it is. And he's fucked this all up, basically, you know?
That spawned a conversation where I talked to Sneako directly, because he was very upset that I was talking about how him rallying against the age of consent is pedophile arguments, like defending pedophilia. As I've said since the very beginning of this channel, I'm always willing to engage with people I disagree with, and I thought that maybe there was a chance I misunderstood what he was trying to say, even though it's still abhorrent. I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying to defend pedophilia, he's like some kind of pseudo-intellectual debate bro who's trying to say something else. So I was willing to hear him out on it, and I talked to him in DMs, and he said he doesn't believe in the age of consent, he believes in the age of marriage, can't assign a number to it, but said that when someone can legally drive, they should be able to marry at the same...
Oh, leak DMs. Uh-oh. Oh, he's leaking DMs on old Sneaks. Old Sneaks is getting his DMs leaked. Leaky, leaky. Why can't you say what you think the age of consent should be? People should legally drive and marry at the same age. Is that driver's permit age 15 or driver's license age 16? As Muslims, we believe it is our duty to follow the law of the land. It wasn't a spiritual question. I have no issue with any faith at all. This is a personal belief question that your response didn't answer. Bro, where was... Dude, where was this MoistCr1tikal in the debate? Bro, this is the kind of energy that would have actually helped you. Where was this in the fucking debate, bro? Dude, he said he's like this in DMs, and then he gets on stream and bites the bullet on some crazy shit he doesn't need to. Like, this is the kind of thing that you want to get him on, is the Muslim stuff, because it is completely incoherent. It's a total mess. Like, you know, the core principle. Like, any religion, you have to strip out a bunch of nonsense for it to function as an ethical system, okay? I'm not being atheist, fucking fedora-tipping cringe lord. It's just true that there's incoherent stuff that exists that you need to be able to wrap your head around, right? Like in Christianity, the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? There's stuff in the Old Testament that doesn't match up with the stuff in the New Testament that you need to be able to try and fucking wrangle around. And it's the same with fucking Islam too. It's the same with Islam as well. There's parts you've got to ignore. There's parts that you've got to... But, you know, I'm not educated enough to debate someone on it, right? I'm an atheist, but I don't care that much about it. But you need to research and actually understand it and know in order to discuss it and talk about it, you know? I don't need the Bible explained to me. Okay, but will you just accept and agree that it is true that there's stuff within the entire Bible that is inconsistent and incoherent with each other that you need to find a way to rationalize? Like some Christians say, well, the New Testament is the one that you should pay more attention to, you know? Or they say, well, this story is just a kind of concept. It's not really true. We ignore that part or something like that, right? Well, I've not read it in full, but I did religious studies when I was younger. Oh, shut up, Stylo. Oh my God. Black Christians are the most annoying Christians of all. Anyway, listen. Anyway, the basic point I'm trying to make is very simple, okay? It's this. Get him on the Muslim stuff. There's stuff in the fucking Bible, in the Quran, that is disgusting and grotesque, and you can pin him on stuff like that, and you can make him look terrible. That would have been a great strategy to go in with, you know?
Same time, which is literally like a 15 or 16-year-old, because you get your permit at 15, your license at 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting.
I'm happy to discuss this in a call if you're curious. Yes, I'm down. Do you mean now? Oh, no, dude. You can't just hop into a call and discuss this with someone that you've got had a previous beef with. This is something that you'd need to actually research. You can't just rely on your own conception of moral certainty. You need to have good arguments and points to make if you want to talk about this, particularly if fucking religion's in the mix. Oh my God, dude. You thought you could just hop on a call and hash out, you know, religion and the correct age of consent and the correct age of marriage, like what, off the cuff? Like, dude, this is fucking insane, bro. There's stuff that I'm very confident on that I would not fucking want to discuss unless I researched it a lot. Like, that's obvious.
Too young or 16-year-old, because you get your permit at 15, your license at 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting. He then said that he was happy to discuss it in a call, which I said I was willing to hear him out on, and he said that he would do it later because he was outside doing an IRL stream in Turkey. So I was willing to hear him out because, again, if this is some kind of crazy misunderstanding, I'd like to know that, because it'd be really fucking scary for someone in his position with his level of influence to be actually advocating for adults marrying and fucking children. That's a huge problem. That's a big fucking problem. So if there was something that he was like...
Okay, does... Islam is fucked on this stuff. It is. It just is. Look at, okay, what can I say? What is within TOS? I'm not sure, right? There's some countries that exist where there's no age of consent and sex is illegal outside of marriage, and the age of marriage is like a development, right? So it's like, this isn't just Sneako's bad opinions. This actually exists in the world. And does he know that? Does he know that there's some countries where that rule exists? And that is, you know, clearly what Sneako is thinking of when he thinks of this stuff. Islamophobic tirade incoming. Dude, is it really Islamophobic to say Islam's got... Dude, what is it, the Sam Harris quote? Islam has got a bucket load of bad ideas. Bro, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back that fucking fedora. Okay? State those countries then. I don't know off the top of my head what they are. Because guess what? I need to do some research if I wanted to talk about it, okay? Which I could do now. I'm not on a live debate. Expected to know off the cuff on this stuff. But yeah, it's in the Middle East. I can't remember, dude. I think of it on a map. I'm thinking of a map, and I can see the image. But yeah. Anyway, the basic point is, yeah, there are some countries where this rule exists, and it's obviously insane.
Trying to say, but failing to do so, I was willing to at least hear it. And this is where the infamous debate came from. The debate that people are calling the debate of the century. I'm kidding, not a single soul on the planet said that. It's actually one of the most dogshit debates I think human beings have ever had. He eventually called me on Discord.
Wait. Is he saying it was a bad debate on his part? Is he taking a bit of an L there? Because that's commendable if he is, I think.
Thing that he was like trying to say, but failing to do so, I was willing to at least hear it. And this is where the infamous debate came from. The debate that people are calling the debate of the century. I'm kidding, not a single soul on the planet said that. It's actually one of the most dogshit debates I think human beings have ever had. He eventually called...
Oh, he's kind of saying it's a bad debate, but he's kind of doing an all-round. I mean, look, one thing you need to remember with this, it is true that Sneako said some insane things. Do you know who had the best, most honest coverage of this debate that I watched just before stream earlier? You're not going to believe it. You're not going to bloody believe it. Nick Merckx. It's actually Nick Merckx. Nick Merckx was the fairest person that I've seen speaking about this. Released a video and said, "You're both insane," and was like, you know, very critical to both sides. But it was a very, you know, it was a very kind of like baseline, like normie perspective on it, you know? Because the thing is like, I think from my perspective, from my side of the internet, other people probably felt the same, is that I do think there's criticism that's due a Sneako, of course, but it's almost like you're kind of expecting that. Whereas with him, you're expecting him to perform a bit better, what with his status and viewership and stuff like that, right? But Nick Merckx probably doesn't have that mentality, so he's going into it looking at them both as kind of equals, as if you like. And he even, I mean, you know, he goes in pretty hard on both of them for their takes. So I'd strongly recommend that. It's very good coverage. Are you going to cover the riots? I'm thinking about doing a British politics stream on the second channel at some point. Maybe I'll speak about it then. We'll see. But unfortunately, there's a lot of drama happening, which I'm more interested in.
Me on Discord. I was under the impression this was just him and I talking. I had no idea this was going to be a debate. I thought he was going to try and explain himself like, hey, no, this isn't actually what I meant. This is what I'm trying to say. I thought this was a conversation between him and I, not this kind of debate show that he was putting on for his audience. There is nothing in our DMs that indicated that's where it was going. When I joined the call, he asked if I was going to record it, to which I said, I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. So I thought...
How do you not check that? Do you not just think, oh, I better just check his channel? Or would he not have some, if I wanted on a stream with someone and I wasn't aware I was on stream, I'd probably get a message about it at my small size.
Believe that the truth is on his side, and it is emo,
you know, let's not undersell myself. Rolling Stone covered
the audience.
Hey, thank you for the $5. But yeah, no, it's, you know, you sound like someone who comments on Daily Mail articles. How do you know I don't? Yeah, I don't know, dude. This sounds like cope coming from him. I struggle to believe that someone with 15 million subscribers on YouTube wouldn't understand that it's likely that they'd be turning this into content in some way, especially when it's someone that's predominantly a live streamer that you're talking to, right? And on top of that as well, this is Sneako's whole model. His entire model is little minions clipping his conversations and his debates and putting it all over fucking TikTok. I don't use TikTok, but I would guess that if you're on that side of TikTok, after the debate, you were probably absolutely bombarded with endless fucking, you know, Sneako-based, oh, da-da-da-da, bang, 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 bang.
Maybe he wanted it as a recording to, like, explain to people like, no, he's not actually a pedophile defender or advocate.
Afghanistan, Iran, Kuwait, Libya, Maldives, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Yemen all have no set age of consent.
Damn. It's more countries than I thought. I'm assuming you've Googled it. We'll have to take your word for it for now. Thank you for the $5. And it's marriage. You have to be married or something, right? Anyway, all I'm saying is it's not just Sneako's beliefs. This is something that is actually in place in certain countries, which is crazy, of course. Gooners run the Middle East. Wow. Yeah. So the thing is, here's the problem. It could be that he didn't know that it was being broadcast, but I do not believe that he didn't know it was being broadcast for the entire conversation. Maybe he covers this in a sec. But he's a massive creator, and I'm certain that if he was on a stream, he would be getting messages about it or something saying, oh, do you realize you're live or something? I don't know, dude. It just seems so crazy that, oh, this whole 2-hour conversation was broadcast and I had no idea.
Record it, to which I said, I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. So I thought maybe he wanted it as a recording to like explain to people like, no, he's not actually a pedophile defender or advocating for that kind of thing. So I thought that is why he asked. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed. Especially because one of his last DMs was about how he's doing an outside IRL stream and he would call me after. To me that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk, not as a part of his stream. I didn't know this was a
This guy, Sneako, a live streamer, is not going to stream a conversation with one of the biggest YouTubers in the commentary space who he's previously had a fucking beef with. Like, what planet are you on, bro? You're either utterly retarded or coping. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, what is going on here? Yeah, I'm sure Sneako's going to be a gentleman and do the right thing and do what I'm expecting him to do here. Come on, dude.
Debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark. I am not a debater. I've never clicked nor a stream until about an hour and 40
Sorry, what was it?
Stream, and he would call me after. To me that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk, not as a part of his stream. I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark.
An hour and 40 minutes? How did this guy's fucking hopeless, bro. With live content. That's just mind-boggling to me. He might just be dumb. Okay, dude. I mean, did he not look at his channel at any point? I don't know. It just seems crazy that you wouldn't just protect yourself in some fashion by double-checking these things. Like, also, what is this defense? Oh, I said crazy stuff because I didn't know it was going to get broadcast, and I thought I was talking secretly to Sneako. Like, dude, none of this is any good. This is a terrible response. Like, he's basically saying, I'm a total gullible retard, actually. Oh my god, dude.
I am not a debater. I've never claimed to be one. I never want to be a debater. I've always said that I believe conversations are the most productive because debates always devolve into what side can score the most points by explaining their thought process, even if the position is wrong. Whereas a conversation is a very different thing to me. So I didn't even know that's what this was. So obviously, I was unprepared for a fucking debate. So I entered into the Thunderdome and we started talking. I made it clear that I found his statements on the age of consent and children marrying adults being fucking hideous. Absolutely revolting. And then he started arguing about, well, what is a child? We must define a child.
Well, I mean, it's basically a way of trying to explain away a very bad performance, right? Yeah, Stylo, I think, has got a much better statement here. Sorry, guys, I was unprepared and I shouldn't have live debates on topics I've not taken a lot of time to stake out on a consistent position. What is wrong with that? Like, that's a perfectly legitimate way of responding to all of this. But instead, it feels like he's doing the PR thing. It's like he cannot bear the thought of having to take an L. So he's spinning all this PR about it in this recorded video, going on about, well, I didn't expect it to be this, and I basically got tricked. He's basically said, I got tricked into it. I mean, bro, this is fucking... It's fine. It's fine. Just take the L and move on. Yeah, this is... People are saying this is a good video. I don't know. Maybe it gets better later, but I'm a bit... I'm pretty... I don't think this is great, especially with the context of the Cope streaming about this too. Oh, this is rough.
You know, it's not actually being under 18. It's all a bunch of hooey. And I really think if you have to start arguing about, well, what technically is a child, you're already way too far gone. Like, that is so fucking weird. And in no...
Bro. What? If you're going to have a conversation about this stuff, the definition of a child is fundamental to bro. I'm not trying to do the debate bro thing, but like, yes, you must have a definition of what a child is if you're gonna have a conversation about at what age it's appropriate to marry someone. It's not weird if this is the context of the conversation. Oh my god, dude, this is this is pure normie slop. This is the kind of thing that normies nod along to and go, yeah, that is kind of weird, because they don't fucking think about it and they don't think past the point of just weird, icky and stuff like that to, well, no, actually, if you're going to have a conversation about this, it is fundamental to understand what a definition of a child is, okay? And now we're talking about a legal definition, which is 18. The UN says that 18 is the age. It is the age at which, broadly, you become an adult. That's a legal aspect. Obviously, it gets very icky when you talk about the development aspect. Do you know what I mean? But then don't have the conversation if you don't want to go there, because it's going to have to go there, particularly with Sneako, who's got absolutely unhinged takes about this shit. What was he talking about? An 18-year-old and a 12-year-old. He basically agreed that there could be a circumstance where a 12-year-old could marry an 18-year-old if certain conditions were met. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous and disgusting, you know? Just setting the world up for child exploitation, child abuse, etc. through that logic. That's Muslims for you. Anyway.
No uncertain terms, multiple times throughout the debate, Sneako says that he is okay with people that are aged 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 marrying adults that are 18 or older.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk.
Can MoistCr1tikal actually explain why that is wrong? I think I could take a pretty good crack at it, okay? I wouldn't have a debate about this, but my view on it is the reason you don't allow that is even if you could meet certain conditions of puberty and the parents agree to it and so on, a 12-year-old, regardless of all of that, does not have the mental capability to understand the ramifications of that decision because they're too young and they're too inexperienced in life to do that, right? And beyond that, you were exposing the child to risk of pregnancy. You know, I don't know what the age of cutoff of this is, but younger teenagers and preteens that get pregnant can be disastrous. It can have a disastrous impact on the body because even if they've gone through some level of puberty, they're not in a position to, but you know, they're not designed at that point, and they're not designed. That's like a religious thing. They've not developed, they've not evolved to a point where they can actually safely and comfortably carry that baby to term. I don't know what the statistics on this are. This is off the top of my head. Obviously, I'd need to research this if I wanted to debate it. But I think there's like a higher chance of like mortality for the mother and for the child, you know, below a certain age, 16, 15, something like that, right? So you're exposing them to that risk. There's also the risk of sexually transmitted infections for the child, which can obviously be disastrous if a child got some sort of STI. Like there's lots of reasons why this is all wrong. And I feel like all MoistCr1tikal has got is, oh, it's icky. And that's fine if you just want to appease your normie audience. But there are good arguments against it that aren't just, oh, it's icky. There's actual, you know, substantial reasons why we as a society have determined to cut that off and not allow that because of our advanced understanding of child psychology, biology, and we understand much better now in the modern age what the risks are to a child of them participating, and that's that dynamic of relationship. And that's just the physical stuff, let alone the psychological aspects of that. You know, an older person, what kind of abuse is potential under that? The fact that they could potentially be like financially reliant on them at such a young age. The fact that there's lots of abuse and stuff that could occur that could be covered. Like there's loads of things that you can talk about, but it just feels like all he's got is it's gross. And that's fine if you just want to appease a normie audience. Just do your video, do your 10-minute video saying it's gross and get a bajillion views. But don't fucking have a debate about it if you can't actually argue the substance of why something is wrong, especially if you're going to bite the bullet on insane things in the course of the debate, you know? Yes, thank you. Right. I knew there was something. Thank you for looking it up. A teen pregnancy before 16 years of age had the highest associated risk of premature death, and obstructive labor was found to be common in teenage girls. Yes, because of the hips and stuff. The hips as you grow up. Childbirthing hips, they call it, right? But the younger you are, the less, yeah. Dude, it's a physicality thing. Anyway, the basic point is some of this stuff is icky, and it is gross to talk about. And it's the fucking remit of philosophy classes to have these conversations. Or, you know, child protection agencies, and that's their bread and butter to make sure kids are kept safe. You don't have to talk about it, but if you do, make sure you're prepared. Like, dude, this is just cope. This is total cope.
Globally.
That are aged 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, marrying adults that are 18 or older.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for, and I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore, anyone, do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented, and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Even get back a little bit. Do you think there's not?
Well, child are meant to be parents. What a discovery. If it's that simple, why didn't MoistCr1tikal say any of this? Why did he not fucking dig into the detail to make Sneako look like he was... Sneako's worldview allows for all of this. And that's what's so fucked up about it. But MoistCr1tikal totally failed to point any of it out in any meaningful way. All he had was just kind of like, oh, that's gross, man. Like, bro.
Not a problem with a child being with an adult.
Okay. We haven't even agreed upon what a child and an adult is. You keep saying that it's 18.
Under 18
that's
is child.
And I'm telling you,
soda.
That's not even the definition of the word.
What is the number?
I just
it
told
must be a number,
electric.
or else you can do the same thing.
I just told you there's not a number.
Recommended.
But do you see why that's a problem?
No.
If there's no defined... So why can't a 12-year-old marry an 18-year-old?
Because most 12-year-olds haven't gone through puberty yet. And most 12-year-olds...
What if, as you just said, it changes. What if a 12-year-old went through puberty early, the parents consent, the 8...
See, this part's good. This is good because he's drilling down to get him to bite bullets on things. But then he doesn't have the backup to say and point out why it's so terribly wrong what he's saying. A normie's going to pick it up, and that's fine. This was his best part of the debate. He did very well to drill into this. But it's almost like he could have just taken it a step further and really nailed him on this stuff, and he just didn't really do it.
18-year-old and the parents consent, can they do it?
Most likely that's not going to happen. You know why? Because Islamically, if
we're not talking most likely, just say it.
If the families have consented, the kid is mature, the kid is ready, why should I stop
at 12 years old. At 12 years old.
If the kid is physically mature, the parents consent, both parties are happy.
A 12-year-old being physically mature.
If that's the only line that actually makes sense.
Again, I don't think a 14-year-old can ever be physically mature.
Mm-hmm. Even though,
bro, that thing that you just looked up, you could have actually used a data point to make this argument, but because he didn't look it up and he didn't research, he wasn't ready. That would have been a great thing to bring up. Well, did you know that under 16, whatever the thing is, brilliant. You've got an actual argument, a strong argument against his position. But, you know, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the fucking oomph to get the fucking point over the line. But yes, other than that, this was a great point. Made him look like he was, you know, biting the bullet on some crazy thing. Good stuff.
Even though they literally can. Even though puberty actually defines that. It's fine.
I don't believe so. I was 14 once. I actually had a mustache when I was 14. Would you have looked at me and said I was physically mature enough to get married?
If you were physically mature, if you were mature, yes, I would. Okay.
Really? When I was 14.
Yeah. If you were 14 and you were ready to go and you met another 14-year-old, yes, I would.
No. We're talking adults. You keep going back to that.
That is adult.
I met...
I told you my definition.
I
told you the definition. The definition,
okay.
If you went through puberty, you're an adult. That's the definition of adult. So yes, if you're an adult and you had a mustache, you're ready to get married, fine. Okay?
Unironically saying a 14-year-old adult, I think, would make most sensible people want to puke. There's so many...
Dude, I know that MoistCr1tikal fans are saying this is a good video. You understand what he's doing here, though? He is like falling back onto the problem in the first place, and that he's relying on discussed responses to back up the argument for him, rather than actually making a good argument as to why Sneako is wrong. Oh, isn't that gross? What a gross thing to say! Why is it gross, though? There's a reason. There's good arguments as to why it's so gross, but he's not making that. He's just going, oh, that's icky, dude. Right? Which, you know, I don't have a problem with if you want to do that as your content. But when you have fucked up the debate and then this is the response as well, it just comes across as very shameless. Like you're trying to avoid these criticisms which are more substantive against you.
Many instances of this, and a lot of the conversation was spent with him talking about like overseas age of consent, like talking about how Japan's age of consent was 13 for the longest time. This and
okay, guys, I understand he's saying he's not a good debater. Okay, has he said? Have I missed it? Does he do it later? Does he say I should never have taken the debate? I should never have done this? Because from what I'm hearing, it sounds like more he's trying to act like he was tricked into it, rather than just plainly saying I shouldn't have done the debate. Right? I mean, I'm not hearing that from him. If he said, I shouldn't have done the debate and I take an L for da-da-da, yeah, fine. But he doesn't seem to be doing that. It feels like he's coping and trying to paper the cracks of the issues in the actual, you know, story here.
And that. But the whole thing was like pulling teeth. And it was fucking painful. And
Bro! Of course, it's easy to... okay, you understand the difference between saying... You know, you're not good at a thing that you failed at, and saying, because I'm not good at the thing, I shouldn't have done it. If he says that later, this is a pause Andy, okay? But I feel like people are being too generous when it's clear that he's trying to circumvent this and trying to be like, oh, I was tricked into it. I'm not really that good a debater, and I got baited into it. I didn't realize it was streaming. How am I coping exactly? Okay, I'll finish the video. I could be pause Andying. I will grant that, okay? I just feel like a lot of this could have just been taking an L and moving forward, but there's still all this cope that I'm hearing from him, which is very disappointing, okay?
I think it's extremely alarming perspective to have. Unironically calling a 14-year-old and 12-year-old mature enough.
Okay, I don't know why you're going so hard on Moist. Because he's an enormous channel that is fucked up, and this video doesn't seem to be an admittance of a fuck up. It seems to be cope to try and, you know, paper over the cracks of the fuck up. That's what it comes across like. What does it matter if he's enormous? He's got a massive YouTube channel. If you've got a massive YouTube channel, I think it's fair to hold someone for account if they fuck something up. No?
Enough for a marriage. Those are middle schoolers. Like, holy shit. I think that is extremely concerning to be advocating for something like that. Like, would Sneako be okay if his best friend ended up marrying a 14-year-old? He certainly shouldn't be. No one should be okay with something like that. Like, that's fucking terrible. That is actually terrible. But now...
Sneako is super bad faith. I'm sorry to break it to you guys, okay? But Sneako, in that debate, was not actually being bad faith. He wasn't. He was not being bad faith. He was saying totally fucked up, insane shit and sounded like a fucking pedo, okay? But he was not being bad faith. Bad faith means arguing something you don't truly believe in order to win a point or win an argument or something like that. Sneako believes what he was arguing. If you want to use the more casual definition, right? He you know, people talk about being bad faith and like being inconsistent or something like that. He had a consistent worldview. It was insane because it's based on Islamic principles, which are fucking retarded. Some of them are absolutely retarded. But he had a consistent worldview and was arguing what he believed.
Now, since I'm
dumb. I'm really... listen, I'm not going to suck my own cock on anything again on this. But if you disagree with what I've said, you don't understand what you're talking about and you just want to sweep for Charlie. Like, everything I've said is a completely fair and accurate assessment of the situation, and you're just wrong if you disagree.
wasn't like holding him to this topic or making sure it stayed on the topic I thought we were talking about. It went all over the place with a ton of different things, but the big one, and this is what most people have focused on, which was my response to his question about kids transitioning. And the way he would pose that question would be by asking if I thought it was okay.
Holding Moist to the same standard as a proper debater is the issue, that he's not a debater and he shouldn't be held to that standard. I would agree and say, okay, well, we can not hold him to that standard if he says, I shouldn't have taken a debate and I won't do these kind of debates again. Maybe he does that. Maybe he does that later. But so far, I'm hearing a lot of cope and not much L taking, where I think that, you know, there needs to be an L taken here.
If kids who want to switch their gender go to the doctor and get their dick cut off. Is it okay if a 9-year-old goes to a doctor and gets their cock cut off right then and there? And when posed with that question, I replied with yes. And I've talked about this.
Oh my God, dude. There's a difference. Do you understand? But, okay, I'm not going to explain it again. I feel like there's a lot of, well, not a lot. I'm getting one guy, to be fair. I'll take the L on getting one guy, okay? There's a difference between saying you're bad at something and saying that because you're bad at something, you shouldn't have done it when you've done it badly, okay?
On stream many times now, and I'll talk about it again here. I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works. Well,
guess what? You would have known that if you'd have done any research into Sneako and recognized that he does believe that is what happens, okay? Yeah, it's like, what? You're telling me Sneako has got crazy takes on trans people that aren't rooted in reality? Oh my goodness, that's what a shock, bro. And also, it is when you're talking about a hypothetical, the reality becomes irrelevant because you're engaging in a hypothetical concept in order to test principles, okay, in this instance. So it doesn't matter. You agreed to the hypothetical. That was a massive L on your part. And this more cope is just shameful. Just admit that you fucked it up plainly and leave it at that. Why do you have to keep doing this cope, bro?
Where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off. I didn't know that that's what he actually believed. I didn't know he was speaking.
Okay, so he doesn't play that clip. Right, okay, bro. This video, how can people not understand what this video is trying to do? This is a sweep job. This is a self-sweep, okay? So he plays the clips of Sneako looking terrible, right? But when it comes to him, he just explains it and he doesn't even show when he looks terrible. That is a shameful response, dude. Especially when he's not uploading the debate himself. This is like shameless sweeping from Charlie, dude. This is like embarrassing, bro. This is fucking embarrassing, dude.
Literally. I thought he was just referring to the entire process of transitioning and just using this over-the-top statement to encapsulate all of it. Because you literally cannot get that surgery unless you are 18. Like, you actually have to go out of your way to be that stupid on the topic than you would just spending a couple of seconds.
Wait, this isn't... I need to listen to that again. I think he said something incorrect again there.
And just using this... I thought he was just referring to the entire process of transitioning and just using this over-the-top statement to encapsulate all of it. Because you literally cannot get that surgery unless you are 18. Like, you actually have to go out of your way to be that stupid on the topic than you would just spending a couple of seconds looking it up.
I know that you can get double mastectomy under 18, I believe, with parental permission in some places in the US. I don't know about natal male bottom surgery, though. Age limit for trans bottom surgery. Weird searches. Ooh. AP News article. Trans kids treatment can start younger, new guidelines say. Okay. It says some surgeries are done at age 15 or 17. Now, to be fair to Charlie, I think he's specifically referring to natal male bottom surgery. But I can't see in this article. Bro, I need to go and look at the WPATH guidelines. This is this is Associated Press reporting on a change to the guidelines. If you agree with mastectomy, Chud, you're lost, dude. Are you people? I've said repeatedly that 18, a flat rate of 18 is, for me, the right way to go about things. I do not support anyone under the age of 18 getting surgeries like this, no matter what it is. Most genital surgeries starting at the age 17, including womb and testicle removal, a year earlier than previous guidance. Okay. God, this is from 2022, though. I don't know if it's been updated. I do that. Bro, do you see the problem, though? He said something, and I've looked at it, and there's already a doubt in my mind as to whether or not it's true. And I'm sure if I looked further, I could get like further confirmation. But based on what I'm reading there, it seems like there is some bottom surgeries that you can get under the age of 18. But maybe it's just testicle removal. I mean, listen, I think it's all fucked. I think it should be 18, to be clear, okay? But yeah. Why isn't he focusing on the surgery? Because the main issue in the debate was he said that he thought it was acceptable for a 9-year-old to get bottom surgery. So, yeah. He's not wrong. I researched the raw paper. Surgery is not performed under 18 unless it's treatment for a medical condition. No, but... But this would be classified as treatment for a medical condition. Gender incongruence or, you know... what's it called? What's the... Gender dysphoria. So, yeah, I think you're misunderstanding the conversation. Anyway, the basic point here is, yeah, I think... But, you know, that's only one part of the argument. That's only one part of the argument, okay? So you've got the conversation about the actual gender aspect and what it should be and the age and stuff. But the other problem that you've got with MoistCr1tikal argument is it's incoherent and inconsistent with his other position, which I believe his argument was to the point where he was saying that someone that's 16 shouldn't be able to get married. So, you know, like, even if you don't want to get to the point where you're arguing the toss about whether a 12-year-old should get married or whether a 9-year-old should... I mean, that's kind of fucked conversation, right? But you can easily say, well, hang on a minute. So you think that a 9-year-old could get surgery, but you think a 16-year-old can't get married even with parental permission? Well, that's an inconsistent position. Like, you could be consistent and just say 18 for both, and you're fucking laughing. There you go. You're not biting the bullet on a crazy take, and you're being consistent. But then, of course, what's going to happen? You're going to upset the trans. And that is, of course, for some people, a crime worse than murder. Okay, anyway.
There are very rare cases where someone under 18 has had that surgery performed. That's not common. So I really didn't think that someone could be so dumb on the topic.
But wait, hang on a sec. It's not happening, and if it's happening, it's a good thing. He's doing the meme, bro. He's doing the meme. No, Charlie, why are you doing the meme?
I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole, which is my mistake. I should have been more clear instead of making an assumption that he was talking about something nuanced in an over-the-top way. I haven't hid this take, and it's not a new take from me. I've talked about this a couple times throughout the years on stream. I have no complaints if a kid gets interested in transitioning and starts talking to their family about it. So their parents start talking to doctors, the kid starts talking to doctors and therapists and all of this, because the process of transitioning is one that takes place over the course of many years. It's not something that just happens like that. And I'm also not afraid to admit that I am not the most educated when it comes to transitioning. I am not someone that has a ton of knowledge about the subject to be speaking on it in a really in-depth manner. But even I know these very surface level things that everyone has easy access to understand. It is a long process. And I have no problems at all if a kid gets interested in that process and starts going through that process.
Okay, dude, he is just not up to date with some of the latest analysis and research on this either. Like, he's operating off of old 2020 progressive logic too. because there's further research that's been done. This is in the CAS review, and this is the reason that some of the Nordic countries have stepped away from some of the pediatric trans healthcare. But long story short is that some of these aspects can put them on the pathway to transitioning, even if it seems to be like a less serious medical intervention, right? Like the biggest one is the puberty blockers thing. So the puberty blocker argument was that it's time to pause and that you can just put your puberty on pause and you can decide when you're older. Further research has come out that suggests that actually that isn't strictly true, and that taking of the puberty blockers can very possibly act as the first step to transitioning, and that also by withholding of puberty, the child could go through puberty, which may allow them to have like hormones pass through their body as part of puberty, and they actually end up becoming comfortable with their natal sex. So it's, you know, another situation where there's more information that's come out where just having this, it's called affirming care, gender affirming care, the idea that you just affirm the person's gender. Now that is being called into question as whether that is even the best way to do it. And actually, it may be better to take a more cautious approach involving a lot of talking therapy, you know, allowing them to have time in another way to kind of go through puberty and see what happens that way. You know, and a lot of these trans, God, I absolutely hate the online trans community with a passion, because you get all these trans people that are the other end of it, that are older, that are trans and have transitioned and stuff. And they look back and think, oh, I wish my puberty could have been paused. Very selfish mentality, because it's like, well, yeah, for you, that may have worked out, but there's also going to be children who aren't going to end up transitioning. And there's other reasons that they're having these incongruence issues. And by stopping their puberty, it could mean that they go through a transition process they end up regretting and having to detrans, which is another problem in and of itself, you know? So it's a very complicated topic. This is off the top of my head from what I've read about it. I am not in a place to fucking debate this.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Even knowing more than Charlie does, I would have to
off
research for a week
people?
before I did it.
I'm so sick of this sublime penguin. Thin skin and ego so high up his emu kitty has been avenged. Moist clickers in shambles. Chud Nation keep gawking.
Thank you very much for the super chat. And the lies about this issue are one of the reasons that I was so keen to move away from the progressive side, because there's been so much dishonesty about it. Even in the face of changing medical information, right? There's this complete dishonesty, just a complete lies about the situation, to the point where there's reports coming out and they're going, oh, it's right-wing fear-mongering. It's nonsense. It's not true. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not right-wing fear-mongering. You are saying that because it's now going against, you know, what your perspective on it is. Trust the science until the science disagrees with me, you know? Who remembers this? Bro, dude, as much as I hate talking about gender stuff, I also love talking about gender stuff. Who remembers this? This is so fucking ridiculous, dude. Every major medical association supports gender-affirming healthcare for transgender youth. The science is settled. Yet the New York Times continues to platform anti-trans activists over medical experts. Bro, the science was never settled on this, okay? This pediatric trans healthcare shit is like at the cutting edge of medicine. A lot of it is not meaningfully researched, which is what the CAS review found out in the UK. The idea it's settled and that the gender-affirming model for youth is correct and is settled science is a lie. It's complete nonsense. In the service of having a blind pursuit of a certain process for pediatric trans healthcare, which, you know, is not well researched and not backed up by the science. So shit like this that made me realize how crazy it is that there's this fucking cult. It's like a cult of just belief of this stuff. Even in the face of information that goes against it, it's a conspiracy. Oh, that's a right-wing government that's put that in place, actually. No, it's not. These are health bodies from countries that have got socialized healthcare. Okay? I don't think you can argue. Yes, the government has a role in certain legislation, but the fact that these bodies are deciding this, That's not a political thing. That is a medical thing. Anyway, listen, I always get distracted with the gender stuff. I do like talking about it, but bro, the level of research you'd need to do to have a debate on this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. And MoistCr1tikal clearly is clueless, even the little that he knows. So I don't, let alone having a debate about it, he shouldn't even be fucking talking about it. He doesn't know anything about it.
With proper care. And then when they reach the age where they can consider that surgery and decide they want...
Bro, he knows as much as fucking Tipster does. He's got the same level of knowledge about Tipster. He's heard some trans people say some shit, and he's gone along with it. That's it. That's his level of understanding with this. Wait, did something just happen? Hey! Welcome to JStalk viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're well. We're talking about Goks. We're talking about the Gok genocide. Welcome.
Want to do it, then that's all power to them. That's entirely up to them. They have reached that age. They can now do that surgery if they want to. That is not a surgery that's being offered to like a 9-year-old who just says, I feel like changing genders today. It's just not how it works. And I didn't think that that's what was actually being discussed because it's so fucking silly. Now, I'm sure there's some really fringe cases you can point to where that kind of thing did happen, but it's not common. Thus, I didn't think that's what was being referred to in the conversation. And it is, again, my mistake for not recognizing that at that moment, it was being spoken about literally. So all that shit that people...
Okay, I was pausing a bit earlier. I see there's a comment in chat, apparently he says some stuff later. Okay. So there is an L being taken. That's good. Fair enough. There is some level of, you know, like accounting for the mistake.
People keep dogpiling and spouting about me about how I want all kids to go out there and get their genitals chopped off is just fucked up. Like, it's so ridiculous.
He's lying. I don't know if he's lying. I don't think he understands. I genuinely don't think he understands the issue. I don't think he gets the difference between discussing what is and discussing what ought to happen. Discussing the difference between what is happening and discussing what ought to happen. He doesn't. I don't think he understands. Isn't that a thing in philosophication? The is-ought difference or something? I don't fucking, you know, I'm not that. It's all fucking nerd shit as far as I'm concerned, okay? But is that not a thing? Is-ought? You cannot determine an is from an ought. You cannot determine an ought from an is. Or something. I don't fucking know. There's a thing, isn't there? It's Kantian ethics. Okay, bro, that is you've lost me. You've lost me straight away, okay? Yeah, sure, I understand. There's a bit of a mea culpa, but you should have started out with it more so. Sure, I'd agree with that.
I recognize I did a horrible job of arguing in this debate, which isn't surprising considering I don't debate. This is not something that's in my skill set, which of course led to some embarrassingly dog shit arguments. Like the one I've seen people reference a couple times is when I briefly mentioned sports in this topic.
Hey,
it was a stupid point to try and make. I was getting hit by like some rebound psychic damage listening to some of the drivel brain rot that Sneako was spouting about the age of consent. And I don't know why I thought this was like an argument to try and make, but I brought up sports in this subject and I was going to try and elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to...
Bro. Oh, dude, no. Oh, no. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say about it then, because I did pause Andy a bit, and there is some L-taking, okay? Cope, reinterpreting, shower arguing, you know, I got tricked into it, is this much of the video, okay? And then this much of the video is, yeah, I fucked up, and I was wrong. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that he needs to fucking go on a video and start whipping his own back. I just think that that ratio needs to be adjusted a bit because it comes across like he's trying to sweep for himself quite strongly, okay? Anyway, that I think is my revised take based on watching more of the video. Let's just have a look and see what his example is going to be.
Brought up sports in this subject, and I was going to try and elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to try and say is that when a kid gets interested in a sport, they'll talk to their parents about it, they'll research the sport, you know, go through the process of learning about it, and when it comes to transitioning, it's still up.
It sounds like you want him to crucify himself. I literally just said I don't want him to do that. I'm not asking him to crucify himself. What do you mean? Is it really crucifying yourself to say strongly, bigly, at the start, or like more substantively, this was a big mistake? I'm not asking for a crucifixion, bro. Just admit you were wrong. Clearly, obviously, early.
Kid gets interested in trying to elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to try and say is that when a kid gets interested in a sport, they'll talk to their parents about it, they'll research the sport, go through the process of learning about it. And when it comes to transitioning, it's still a process where you talk to your family about it, you learn about it. Like, it wasn't a point where I was trying to say, well, changing genders is a lot like picking between baseball and soccer.
It's still a terrible example, though, because this is actually from Nick Merckx. Dude, I'm quoting Nick Merckx' gender take right now, okay? But obviously, if you get into a sport and then you find out you don't like it later and you change your mind, no harm, no foul. You could just go and do something else, not play sport, whatever you want to do. But if you get into the process of pediatric trans healthcare, there does come a potential point where you are so far down the pathway it becomes difficult to reverse course or get out of that, right? Even puberty blockers, according to the CAS review, are not. It's not a case where you just pause a puberty with no impact and that's it. There's arguments that are being made now that can be the first step of the process towards fully transitioning, and it becomes difficult to move away from that. So, dude, I just think do not mention the sport thing. The sport thing is fucking ridiculous. Obviously, sports are totally different and are totally, utterly reversible at any point. You can stop playing sport tomorrow and it will have no negative impact on you whatsoever, right? But whereas with the gender stuff, it's not as simple as you can just stop and that's it. There can be pathways that you're put on that become very difficult to move away from, But yeah.
Like, it's not what I was trying to get at, but because I didn't elaborate on it and it really wasn't a good argument to try and make in the first place, that's one...
Still doing his awful cringy word expressions? Boo, I said sports stupid like the Blues, Clues and Marsupials in the National Football League.
Thank you for the $5 When has it not been the first step of that process? Because, well, the argument that trans rights activists have made is that puberty blockers are a pause. They don't represent a substantive stage of a transitioning process, and it gives you time to think so that later on you can decide if you want to fully transition or not. And the reason that it's important to give these children expressing gender incongruence these puberty blockers is because they'll literally kill themselves if they don't. That is the premise of the argument that pro-trans people make about puberty blockers. But as time has gone on and more research and investigation has been done, those points have been undermined because it doesn't appear that there's a higher suicidality amongst children that aren't given puberty blockers. That hasn't been reflected in statistics in Europe where countries have taken it away. It doesn't necessarily just act as a pause, and it can actually act as the first step of the process of transitioning. Puberty can have a positive impact of making you feel comfortable with your natal sex. So the arguments for puberty blockers are kind of getting undermined as we move forward and talk about this issue more, Also, the idea that puberty blockers are fully reversible, forget about the bone density thing. Marcy Bowers, who is a doctor that works for WPATH, has said that I think it's a Tanner stage. If a child is given puberty blockers, a natal male is given puberty blockers at Tanner stage 2, they're finding that they will go on to live life without being able to orgasm. So this is from a WPATH doctor that said this. So it's like, And again, this is a narrative that's been pushed. Reversible, pause, reversible, pause, reversible, pause. As more information comes out, it's like, no, you're not fully, honestly representing the situation with this stuff, The science is settled, though, guys, by the way. Totally settled.
Changing genders is a lot like picking between baseball and soccer. Like, it's not what I was trying to get at, but because I didn't elaborate on it and it really wasn't a good argument to try and make in the first place, that's one people have harped on a lot. And I get it. Like I said, I am not a debater. Like, I didn't go in here expecting a debate. So I had nothing prepared here for this inundation of outrageous questions and tangents. Like, there was a point where Sneako was trying to get me to say white power. Like, the whole thing was a fucking mess. It was without...
Like, look, I know people are going to point to that and be like, "Oh, MoistCr1tikal is taking the L," but okay, like, do people not understand the difference between saying, "I'm not a debater, and so I shouldn't have taken a debate. That was a mistake, and due to that mistake, there's lots of issues that have been caused," right? And going, "Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a debater, and I shouldn't have taken the debate. But dude, he got me into a conversation, was asking me to say white power." It's an effort to sweep. You're not just plainly stating the issue. You're wrapping it up with all of these excuses and cope, right? I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems very clear. I'm trying to be fair. It seems very clear what's going on here. This is all a PR exercise to try. And the fact he's not showing any of his fucking, of his participation in the debate where he looks bad, and he's only showing clips where Sneako looks bad, serves to, further that thought process on, again, you're wrong. I don't think I am. Why is it, okay, answer me this. Why has he only so far shown clips where Sneako looks bad? Why has he not shown clips of his own bad arguments? Why has he not done that? And also, he's not uploaded the full debate either.
Without a doubt, probably the worst debate that video has ever been cursed with. And I really regret not doing a better job here. It's not something I should have even done in the first place. I just have a tendency to really hope for the best out of people, and I was really hoping that I and most people were wrong about Sneako's perspective on the age of consent. However, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be the case.
He's discussing his bad arguments. He also discussed Sneako's bad arguments while showing the clips of Sneako. So he's with Sneako, he's showing both the clips of Sneako's bad arguments and talking about his bad arguments. But with him, he's not showing the clips of the bad arguments. He's just talking about them. Why do you think that might be?
He was very adamant about this position, and I did a terrible job in arguing with him, and I did a terrible job of articulating my beliefs. I am supportive of the LGBTQ+, and I have been, and that's not something I've been shy of.
See, this is good. This is a perfectly fine L taking, but it's wrapped up in so much cope. It's like you got to tear through all the cope, the layers of cope to get to the middle. You're like, okay, so he is taking an L. That's the issue with this whole video for me. Thank you for the super chats.
I just wish I did a better job of expressing that. To be open and honest here, and I've talked about this a lot, I've always treated my channel kind of like a diary for myself, which is why I just talk about so much different nonsense and so...
Actually, I was correct. I just made a bad argument and got completely owned, but trust me guys, I'm still correct, and BTW Sneako is a como.
Dude, is that not... Dude. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. That's funny. Oh, hey, J-Stock. Sneako is a pedo. Is that actually J-Stock? I thought it was banned on YouTube.
So many things that I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about, but some of it's fun for me to talk about, or some of it's just things I care about. So being totally honest, I used to treat the internet as an escape from my dog shit real life. Truly unhappy, really hated most of everything about myself.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I see what's going on here. I think the MoistCr1tikal has been outpaced by the internet. Okay, I think that's what's happened here. This is an example of Moist being on the internet for so long, he's getting outpaced by the new generation. That's what it comes across like here, right? Is that a crazy take? I mean, he's obviously used to fucking doing 10-minute videos, doing commentary about some topic and just giving the cookie cutter take and getting a bajillion views. But now he's actually having to go on and debate controversial topics with a hostile opponent. He struggles to keep up. Right?
And the internet was my escape from it. But now it's really become that real life is the escapism for me now. Like, I love posting and creating things, but I don't like interacting with the internet around me anymore. And it's something that I started to realize a couple months ago. And I've talked about it on stream a little bit, how because I've covered so many like drama stories and everything, it's pretty much all that I ever get told about when I'm streaming, and it's become such a massive headache, and it's just constant negativity that I'm fully...
No posting for old men. Yes, exactly.
...flooded with.
Dude, he's Tommy Lee Jones. He's Tommy Lee Jones in that movie, the old sheriff. That's sick of it all. Can't bear it anymore.
Like at all hours. Like I am in like this human centipede of eating someone's ass while having my ass eaten with even more things that I'm being demanded to like talk about, where everything just feels like a lose-lose, and it has been for like the last 6 or 8 months, I feel, where if I talk about something, it's a problem. Even if something is cut and dry as like Cody Co having sex with a 17-year-old being bad, I caught a lot of shit for that too. I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't see that, but man, the amount of emails I got and a lot of the things I was seeing, even something as cut and dry as that was an issue when I talked about it. And then if I don't talk about something, or if I don't talk about something fast enough in the time that some people think is...
Yeah, dude, Bird is so right, dude. Constantly makes drama videos, gets owned once. I don't like drama anymore, guys. Now, look, I can relate somewhat. Like, you know, I've got a week off this month, and I'm looking forward to that, because I'm not going to have access. I'm going to be somewhere where there's not good signal. So I'm not going to be able to fucking constantly update myself on what's going on with internet drama. What with it, being how I earn a crust, right? And I'm looking forward to that. And it's fine. It's fine to take a step back and go, okay, I'm not going to worry about this gay shit for a while. But this comes across as like, yeah, I've got owned and I've got to I can't bear the drama content anymore, dude. I'm sure I'm not going to Butlins, first of all. And secondly, even if there's Wi-Fi there, bro, do you understand, right? How difficult? Do you understand the sheer diminishment of my social batteries? Okay, that I'm experiencing right now.
Appropriate, I'm then accused of covering up for something for an ulterior evil motive. So it just really feels like a rock and a hard place where, regardless, it's just going to be a massive flood of negativity. And a huge critique of me that I've always seen is Charlie's a fence sitter. He's just a fucking fence.
I cannot. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I guess it's kind of frustrating. Someone who holds people to task so strongly on things and has commented on other people and their mistakes. And then when you make a mistake, it's like, oh, I can't. Oh, there's drama, man. I feel like the human centipede. Obviously, his viewers are going to lap this up like the greedy little fucking piggies that they are. The little slop normie piggies. Oh, yes, Charlie. Oh, it's so hard for you. Anyway, I don't even dislike this guy. I know I'm coming across quite strongly. He's got a place. I think his content is fine as like a quick summary of some drama that you want to hear about, okay? And I have, being fair, defended him before about stuff. It's just, this is like such an embarrassing display. What a shameful display.
It's just going to be a massive flood of negativity. And a huge critique of me that I've always seen is Charlie's a fence sitter. He's just a fucking fence-sitting, enlightened, centrist cuck, this and that. And I've always said for the entire time I've been on the internet, I'm not special. I'm literally just a normal guy who got very lucky. I just sit here, joke about shit, talk about my opinion on things, and nothing else. I don't have a unique perspective on things. I don't have deep insight into the vicissitudes of certain things. I am literally just a guy who yaps, has some fun, talks about shit, does some wacky stuff as well, and that's it. It's just not that deep. But because everything is so inflammatory and charged online, it's being perceived in the last 2 years, it's really popped off as me making deliberate attempts to appease both sides and play right down the middle to soak up as much as possible. Like it's all this like nefarious scheme where I'm doing this with my hands. And I just don't understand how it's become so incendiary, where that's apparently like a really bad thing now. My opinion is not special, and my opinion isn't one that's pandering to any sides or catering.
Okay, I do think some of this is outside of his control. To be totally fair to MoistCr1tikal, okay? I think that people do put him on a pedestal, and they do look to him as this kind of Giga Chad slayer of retards. I mean, the best example I can think of this to show you precisely what I'm talking about in just a few minutes is this. Okay? This is literally the video to show you.
To see that little soy boy come up here and mess with me. You all know.
I'm probably not going to play the whole thing, but, you know,
Oh, he ain't gonna say anything to my face.
Remember this? Remember this?
What? Is that Charlie?
This image is the perception that some people have of this guy. And whilst, you know, he's definitely benefited from that perception, some of that isn't his fault. That's people putting him on a pedestal, which he probably doesn't really deserve to be on. Because all he does is just make short videos giving fairly, you know, non-controversial commentary on trending topics, you know? Is 100% his fault? Yeah, but that's because you're a Moist Critical hater. Okay? I don't think it's 100% his fault. I think he's benefited from this perception, but I think other people have also participated in putting him on this pedestal, you know? When if you actually scrape beneath the surface, there isn't actually much substance to his thought process or his arguments. He let them do it. What are you supposed to do? What are you like? Stop making me look cool, guys. I don't know. What do you mean? Stop making me look so based and cool. I will not have it anymore. Come on, dude. That's a bit much, isn't it? So yeah, I just think that he's definitely been put on a pedestal. And this conversation has shown that there isn't much substance behind the arguments and points that he makes. And he's just, look, he's perfectly fine making his 10-minute videos, giving takes on trending topics. But in terms of getting into the depth and the meat of it, he just doesn't really have the well-thought-out reasoned positions to do it, you know? Whereas, you know, if it's like another commentary channel like Turkey Tom or Nicholas Diorio, obviously, you know, not my bias is there, certainly. But I feel like if you have a conversation with Nicholas Diorio about something, he does actually have good arguments and reasoning to back up what he says. And you can have a you know, a conversation with him about it, you know? Whereas with this guy, it's all just base level, it's icky, it's gross, and, you know, whatever.
To anything, it's literally just whatever's up here. I sit down for like 30 to 45 minutes on like a topic or like a video that I'm joking around about, and I talk about it. I am legitimately just an average, well, below average.
Turkey Tom is the same as Moist. Nah, that's not true. Turkey, you can talk to Turkey Tom and have a disagreement, an argument, and he's got reasoning to back his claims up.
Average height guy who's about to turn 30. I'm not just spitting hot takes out the wazoo here. I'm just being myself. That's all this channel ever has been. And now it's become super controversial to do that if it's not like, you know, picking sides on everything, it seems. And it's very frustrating.
Damn, TK is out for blood. A lot of Moist. I must say that person earlier was correct. This is a very anti-Moist chat, it seems. Imagine Boogie2988 saying this instead of Charlie. Well, but the problem is Boogie2988 has got a completely diminished reputation for numerous reasons. Charlie is relying on his positive impression to say this, right?
For the longest time, it was just me having fun. And for the most part, it still is. But I've started to recognize over the last few months that some of the things I do just really aren't fun for me to do, and I've been doing them out of obligation. Mainly internet drama. When I initially started covering drama so many years ago now, it was fun, because it wasn't as serious. Like, the stories were a lot, you know, more quirky. It was easy to get invested because it was kind of just like a soap opera, like a really dumb soap opera. But recently it's been much more serious, and I feel the need to talk about these things because a lot of them are extremely serious with very important topics to discuss. But it has...
Yeah, I think Splash Fuzz has got a point here. Say this to your friends and family, not on a public video. Yeah, drama is fun, but not when on the subject. Doesn't it feel, dude? It's just, I've got this image in my head of MoistCr1tikal hoarding up all this gold like a dragon. And he's sitting on this big pile of fucking massive gold that he's made off covering other people's dramas and other people's misfortunes. Okay? And then a coin bounces somehow and hits him on the head. And he's like, oh no! Ow! No, I don't like this. It's like, bro, look at the pile of gold that you sat on from talking about this. And now there's a tiny little ping on your head that's blowback from drama, and you all of a sudden think it's terrible. I find it very shameful to act like this about it. Like, I agree. I've got some sympathy and some empathy for, like, as an empath, I've got some empathy for this because, yeah, the kind of grind of drama and stuff. But the fact he's talking about it in this video when he's fucked up a debate so badly is just completely the wrong look for me. And I think save this for your friends. Save this for your close friends of complaining about the rigged roles of drama, you know?
Has become draining. As much as I never wanted to admit it, I've started to recognize that my mood is immediately impacted by whatever I read on Twitter in the morning. If that's some horrible stuff about a creator or what have you, it immediately affects my entire day and my whole outlook on the day. Now I know, call the wambulance, get some French fries, just fucking whining about having to talk about drama. What a stupid problem to be upset about. But I'm just trying to explain that it hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't. And the main thing, if you've been around the channel for a while, is I've always wanted this to be fun and never feel like a job.
Recognizing it isn't enough. I fear that Stylo, the only thing Stylo will accept is the next video, MoistCr1tikal. Sneako's minions with long nails hammering him into a cross to get crucified. Yeah, it is sympathy baiting. I agree with that, yeah. I don't know, dude.
And as hard as it is for me to admit this, a lot of this kind of stuff, it has just started to feel like less fun and more of, well, gotta do this because I'm expected to. Like, anytime I go live, most of chat is just telling me about the latest in whatever's happening in the creator space or some other, like, extremely negative.
Bro! Yeah, listen, guys, don't get me wrong. I appreciate people bringing topics up they think are interesting to cover. But sometimes they need to shut the fuck up. Dude, you need to have a level of control over what you want to talk about and what you want to say and what you want to cover and go with that, right? Like, yeah, people in chat want you to pull you every which way but loose. You've got to fucking ignore a lot of that and just... I mean, I get one guy by it sometimes, but, you know... But yeah, I don't know, dude. It feels like he's way too amenable to his audience. Like, tell them to get fucked, you know?
Negative thing going on, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn all about that once I turn stream off. So then I spend a few hours learning about these things, and it's all just really upsetting stuff. Like, it's not happy. It's all very sad, bad stuff.
Okay, dude. Oh, right. No, this is... Oh, my God. I'm going to fucking lose it with this one. We're reaching Hassan tier fucking arguments, dude. Oh, no. It's so hard sitting in my gaming chair. Look, guys, of course, I'm sure you can imagine, okay? Especially with me. I make this look easy, okay? But no, in all seriousness, okay, that's wonderful. I'm sure you understand that are things that happen that are a bit annoying with this, right?
Canyon have been predicting the future lately. There's also a few of Mr. Beast's videos that's scarily accurate now.
Thank you for the $10. You know, you can recognize that, I'm sure. And I recognize that too. But why talk to you about it? I dread to think, okay? There's some guy sat in a fucking cubicle somewhere that's listening to my stream whilst at work, okay? Plugging numbers into a spreadsheet. And then he hears through the headphones, oh, guys, it's so fucking hard, guys. There's people in my chat that are telling me to cover something, and I've got to go and half-heartedly look into it to cover it on stream. I mean, I would obviously go in deep, but you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, it's like, shut up, bro. There's people out there who are slumming it in a job they probably don't really like, listening to you moan about you sitting there on a pile of fucking gold. People don't need to hear it, dude. Tell it to your mates. Tell it to your fucking mates, you know? I obviously have got gripes. I say sit to DK sometimes. And me and him have got an affinity because he's like in the industry as well and he's got his own view on it. So we can talk about that. But I wouldn't bring that to chat because it just feels a bit shameless to complain when what I do to make money is so fucking cushy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is that much of a problem? Go and get a normal fucking job then. But you won't, and I won't, and others won't, because we all know that the alternative is sitting in a fucking office somewhere, you know, having your boss in your ear, whatever. Like, and it's in comparison, it's not as good. Nowhere near as good, you know? If you, yeah, exactly. It's like, if it's really that much of a problem, go and get a normal job. Go and get, as you call it, a real job, okay? I don't know, dude. I just hate this. I hate this when streamers and content creators do this. Having a gripe is fine. you know, but at least do it in a comedic way. This self-serving victimization, oh, it's so hard when people in my chat are telling me to cover drama and I've got to look into it. Bro, you earn millions of dollars doing this, bro. What the fuck, dude?
And it's been making me not happy. So I definitely think I'll be slowing down on covering internet-related drama or like drama in general. I'll still talk about like really wacky stories and shit like that, but I definitely think I'm gonna be pumping the brakes on like the kind of drama I have been covering recently. And instead, I'm gonna go back to focusing on the content that I'm most happy with. Like, if you ask me what content I'm most proud of throughout my entire time on this platform for the last, like, 17, 18 years, none of it would be drama coverage. It'd be things like Skynut. It'd be things like...
Bro, so Joey just said Resident Evil gaming streams. Bro, there is absolutely a tipster energy. Charlie's getting away with it because he doesn't look like tipster. Bro, if he looked like tipster, it would be game over, okay? If there was some fat Hispanic slob sat there.
Like shooting a potato at a tennis racket to see if you can make French fries in midair by frying them in hot oil. It's shit like that. And I think I'm gonna go...
Where can I find the full debate? Not on MoistCr1tikal channel. You got a couple of clips of Sneako looking bad in this video, but other than that, you need to search MoistCr1tikal Sneako full debate, and other people have clipped it.
Go back to that kind of stuff as opposed to the direction that I have been going recently. So yeah, this was a lot to go over here, but I hope this has cleared everything up. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.
There we go, guys. The thing is, I do want to be fair, okay?
Is it okay
there are definitely points in the video where he did more substantively take an L, okay? So I've got to recognize that. But it's wrapped up in all this cope. And that self-victimizing, that was cringe at the end, dude. Complaining about having to cover drama because people ask you about drama to cover and you've got to go look at it for a few hours. TCD. Does that mean... That means total commentary death, right? Yes, conceptual thing. Yeah? Is that what that means? Guys, chill out. 2 minutes of taking an L, 15 minutes of burying Sneako, 10 minutes of crying about his life being hard. Yeah, I don't know, dude. People are saying this is a good video, MoistCr1tikal fans. I don't know, man. It just adds to the cope to me. I don't like it personally. I think he should have just been a lot more direct and upfront, taken a bigger L, and moved forward. No. We finished. I just skipped back through. It is the end. It is the end. Sorry, my bad. I'm just skipping through, just to wrap up my thoughts on this. Don't worry. Look, there we go. I'll do that so you know. Don't worry, guys. You know what's going on. Okay, you got punked. I don't think you get it, Chud. He said he wasn't a good debater. Yes, I heard and recognized that, and that's fine. You know, I'm not a good footballer, so I'm not going to go and try and hop on the pitch in a Premiership game. And if I did, I would profusely apologize. The thing is, I don't want it to be about apology. Apology is fucking gay. I don't care about apology. Apologize. It's not about apologizing. It's about a demonstrable recognition of where you fucked up and the mistakes that you've made. And it's in there a little bit somewhere. If you're looking like, you know, this through the fucking keyhole. But a lot of it is just this kind of cope, you know? Anyway, there we go, guys. That is the MoistCr1tikal response video.